Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Speed Check. We're going for the turkey, we're going for the triple crown, and we're doubling down. We're going for the three-peat. We're doing them all. Raw, AEW, Smackdown, every show's getting covered this week. Thank you guys for joining me. Man, I wish I could say this was the end of my week for recording, but tomorrow we're recording the podcast and I think something else, and then Sunday we're recording something else, and then the week starts all over. It's a busy week for your boy, the real champion of the WCP, but it is what it is. So without further ado, let's get straight into this episode of Smackdown Live. And we're going to start things off with a little bit of news and rumors. According to the latest rumor, apparently, even though they have recorded record-breaking profits this year, WWE will not be giving any bonuses to their employees, be they wrestlers or staff. No one is getting any bonuses. So for this episode, because that's absolutely not fair, I will not be judging anyone based on their performance, because each and every single one of them has the right to just phone this episode in. 4 minutes and 8 seconds. It took Roman Reigns 4 minutes and 8 seconds to complete his entrance. And yes, I am including the time when he stood there and let that soulless audience boo him, because that was a part of his entrance, because that was operated by some equally soulless man or woman in the back on a soundboard. There was a reason why when Undertaker did his entrance, it was cool, because that was an event. We had lights, we had smoke, we had an entire atmosphere, and that deserved the time it took for him to get down to the ring. Roman Reigns' entrance is not the same. It is just a waste of time, and I refuse to entertain it. I have just skipped past this, so I hope nothing important was said, because I didn't hear it.
Keep on smiling.
While yes, Paul Heyman is correct, last year's WrestleMania was the lowest attended in history. He forgot to mention that they somehow, some way managed to break the attendance record for the Performance Center by over 75,000 people. Heyman, if you're going to speak about attendance and WrestleMania, you have to fudge the numbers. Make up a lie about why we couldn't see the audience. Say it's because of mirrors. Say it's because of global warming. Say it's because of The Rock. I don't care. But you do not forget about the attendance record. Roman Reigns' promo was so good, so convincing, that Adam Pearce legitimately was shaking in his boots. He was dropping the microphone. He was quaking in his little pants. He was raking the leaves. He was painting the house. He was taking out the trash. I've run out of idioms, but the point is, you get it. The point is, Adam Pearce is legitimately scared of Roman Reigns, and he dropped the microphone on his way out. First off, let me just say, Roman Reigns, another excellent promo. At this point, I just kind of want to stop acknowledging how great his promos are, because they're always great. So at this point, I'm not going to acknowledge them anymore. If I acknowledge them, it's only because they're bad. He has reached a level where we don't have to acknowledge it every single week. He is just that good. So Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, great promo. But I have to admit, there is one thing I'm getting tired of. Every time Roman Reigns' storyline is on screen, I am tired of Adam Pearce or some other official announcing Kevin Owens is going to fight in some way that's revolved around Roman Reigns, as if it's some big surprise. Like, we all didn't see Kevin Owens being in the Elimination Chamber. Like, we didn't know Kevin Owens was going to be at the Royal Rumble. Every time they announce Kevin Owens, it's like some big surprise that no one could ever fathom. And that's all we've gotten. Is it a good program? Yes, but it's not a surprise anymore. Stop treating us like children. I swear we've seen Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens fight more than Dr. Cox and Dr. Kelso. That's right, I brought a Scrubs reference onto the show. It's the end of the week. Let's get loose with it. She's Sonya Deville. She's Sonya Deville. If she doesn't impress you, her fashion game will. Her suit's so sharp, it could go for the kill. She's Sonya Deville. I really like Sonya Deville, in case you couldn't tell. The memories. I remember when I was just a lad, and I carried my dad on my back too. Wait, what? The entire time Sami Zayn is yelling at the referee, Charles Robinson is distracted, yelling at the timekeeper for no reason. He's not getting a response. Instead of just looking at Sami Zayn and responding to Sami Zayn, Charles Robinson decides to bury the poor kid. Come on, little Nate, you're better than that. Sami Zayn shouting out WWE's plan to use the Mysterios to break into the Latin American fan base is just so cruel. Sammy, why would you say something so controversial yet so brave and so true? More than once, if you listen to commentary, Corey Graves has mentioned that Dominic might just want to punch his dad in the face, and all I can say is I think Corey might be projecting, and I think he might have some serious daddy issues he needs to work out here. There's so much to dissect in this photo alone. On Kalisto, he's got the ghost necklace because when it comes to TV time, he's an absolute ghost. We've got the fan favorite sign over their heads because even though I don't have proof, I promise you these three are the reason you're watching SmackDown. And finally, as we've seen on Monday Night Raw, marriage is a loose construct in WWE, so I don't blame Reggie for bringing out the drinks for Sasha Banks and shooting his shot. You get yours, Reggie. Holy shark repellent. I'm not joking when I say I wrote that last entry before I watched the rest of this segment, and like, is there a sexy gas leak going on in WWE that's causing everyone to forget they're married? What is going on here? Also, Kalisto, come on, man, put on a shirt. You're not wrestling tonight. Do you just show up to places, take off your shirt, put on a ghost necklace, and show off your abs? I don't know. This, as a man who doesn't have abs, I find this offensive. Weeks ago, Corey Graves said that Apollo and Big E had so many similarities. So with all the similarities they have in common, why is it that his tenure in WWE is one of the only facts they could find to put on the screen? I mean, what about Apollo Crews' run as a member of the Fresh Knights, or the fact that he was the ruler of the More Than 4 Count, or the fact that he is a 9-time WWE Schmag Team champion? So many similarities, so little time. Put one of those facts up, WWE. The WWE production room is full of gossiping teenage girls because Big E purposely put the microphone down so that nobody could hear, so he could have a private, personal conversation with Apollo Crews. But you could personally hear them. You can actually hear the production team raising the ring mic because they wanted to hear all that tea being spilt. You can hear them tell the cameraman to get in close. We want to hear all that juicy gossip. I'm tired of the gossip in WWE when two grown men are just trying to have a nice personal conversation. It's ridiculous. I don't want gossip. I want respect among men. Yeah, that's my new problem. Respect. And this is the second time this episode we're reminded that Seth Rollins is making his return. I swear, if this return doesn't wow me out of my seat, I swear I'm gonna keep watching, but I'll bitch about it on the internet. And ladies and gentlemen, as WWE continues to quote unquote celebrate Black History Month, we here at the West Coast Popcast would like to revisit a new segment of ours called Remember when Vince McMahon heard Xavier Woods pitch for the New Day and made them act like stereotypical Baptist preachers? Speed check remembers. Remember how Ron Simmons was the first black wrestler to hold the top spot in a promotion? But nowadays, all he says is one word. Speed check remembers. Remember that time Vince McMahon said the N-word on live television in front of a black man, and for some reason we as a people all decided to just let that go? Speed check remembers. This has been Speed Check Remembers. We remember. I honestly don't know what confused me more about this segment, so let's just go down the list. Number 1, before Rollins left, he abandoned the SmackDown Survivor Series team. So why is the entire SmackDown roster coming down respectfully to hear what he has to say? He abandoned you people, and you're all there listening as if he owes you money. In addition to his 13 WWE championships, Rollins has held every other title. He's a Grand Slam champion, except for the Universal Championship. And he was even the first NXT champion. But when it comes to his fun fact, they couldn't think of anything else to put there besides the fact that when he gets home, he gets to nail Becky Lynch. And finally, number 3, as Sasha Banks has shown earlier this episode, as Lacey Evans showed earlier this week, and as Vince McMahon has shown all his life. I can't prove that, but you and I both know that man has not been faithful to Linda McMahon his entire life. Marriage is a very loose construct in WWE. It's more like a suggestion. So I'm willing to bet that given a month, Seth Rollins is going to be flirting with Tamina. So that engaged to Becky Lynch fact doesn't really matter in WWE, does it? And while I'm hating on this segment, I have to say, I hate The Miz for starting this trend. Just because you had a baby does not mean all is forgiven. You don't get to get applause just because you had a child. Congratulations. There are 7 billion people on this planet. At some point in time, you were not the only father. And I know you're thinking, but Eric, the miracle of birth, holding your firstborn child in your arms can really melt the coldest of hearts. And to you, I say butt kiss. Once a bastard, always a bastard. On one hand, he took out Ray's eye. On the other hand, he's a poppy now. So of course, Ray has to give him the respect he deserves and listen to what he says. Now let me just say this, I have nothing but respect for Natalya. She is a fine wrestler, an amazing wrestler, a very talented wrestler, and one of the most talented wrestlers on this planet. And Tamina, well, she's a woman who lives on this planet. But when they come together, and I see them watching this match that I actually was interested in. I actually wanted to watch Bayley versus Liv Morgan. But once I saw these two just standing there watching this match, I suddenly couldn't care less. Also, if you're watching television at this kind of angle, then you need psychiatric help. I couldn't fully capture the moment of impact clearly enough, but I just want to say it's spots like this that really make me appreciate and respect Liv Morgan. She came into WWE as a very beautiful blonde girl, and if anything is true in WWE, if you're a beautiful blonde girl, you don't have to do that much work. You just show up and things kind of go your way. But Liv, from day one, has worked her ass off, and she is without a doubt one of my favorite performers in the women's division right now. Kudos, Liv. Keep on doing you, girl. You're doing a great job. You are a hard worker. And while we're still dishing out compliments, I have to give Bayley her due. I still think she's an S-rank competitor. And when I see all the outside promotion that Sasha Banks is getting, I'm happy for Sasha, but I also feel a little bad for Bayley because I think she deserved just as much recognition. She deserved spotlight outside of WWE, but for some reason, it just didn't happen. So if I were Bayley, I would get an agent and I would start looking to those outside opportunities because she's a great performer, she's a great actor, and there's so many opportunities waiting for her on the outside. I've said it before, I'll say it again, these hoes ain't loyal. Now I know I'm just a humble YouTuber playing checkers and WWE is busy playing chess in their big fancy tower in Connecticut, but I cannot understand why they continue to split teams up just to create new tag teams. Team Fire and Desire was destroyed to create Team Too Blonde, Too Furious with Mandy and Dana. The Bar was split up to create The Bar 2.0 with Shinsuke, which now seems to be split up to create The Bar 3.0 with Daniel Bryan. And of course, we now have Heavy Machinery, who was split up so we could create the Alpha Academy team of Otis and Chad, soon to be premiering on Nickelodeon at some time in the summer. But the one thing I hate about this team, I have nothing against Chad Gable. I love Chad Gable. It's the fact that this cost a man his job. I'm not saying Tucker was the best wrestler ever, but splitting up that team, we all know Tucker is done. We all know he's getting his pink slip, and that's a shame when he did absolutely nothing wrong. Now, this spot makes absolutely no sense to me because if we watched the promo before the match, we saw Chad Gable taught Otis to just do a spinning lariat. I know Gable keeps calling them clotheslines, but they are different. A clothesline is when you are standing still with your arm extended. A lariat is when you are running at the person and you extend your arm. Difference, kids, it matters. But the point is, Otis was taught to just do a spinning lariat. So why is he running to the ropes? Maybe you're saying he was going to do a running spinning lariat, but that's not what he was taught. I'm tired of these young hotshots graduating from the academy, thinking they can just throw the books out the window and be some kind of loose cannon on the edge. There are rules. That is why you go to the academy. I'm 2 days from retirement and I'm too old for this shit. All jokes aside, this was a decent match. I know sometimes I complain about matches not really having a purpose, but this match was okay for not having a purpose. It kind of established a few things. It gave the Street Profits some TV time and got them back into the focus. We can see them going for the tag team championships again. If you're a fan of Otis, then you and I have very different tastes, but you got to see some Otis. So this match killed time, and it did so in an okay way. So this was a decent match, good match. Now, I know I make fun of WWE for pretending to care about Black History Month, but the fact is we have to appreciate this scene right here, because we have to give props to every single Black woman wrestler out there struggling to make it to this point, and we have to give respect to Bianca and Sasha for actually making it to this point, because it must have felt like an uphill battle. Respect where respect is due. Sasha and Bianca, well done. And if you out there are watching this and you happen to be a Black female wrestler, just know that we here at the West Coast Pop support you. We wish you nothing but luck, and we would love to hear your story, because just like anything in life, it's a lot harder to be a woman in this world because women do not get fair treatment. But I can only imagine what it's like to not only be a female wrestler, but to be a Black female wrestler. You are incredibly strong to do so. This is absolutely not fair. When I watch SmackDown, I expect my blood pressure to stay low. I watch SmackDown because it isn't Raw. And now you're telling me that you got some Raw in my SmackDown? This is bullshit. If I wanted to see Nia Jax and her whole holier than thou attitude, I'd watch it on Raw. I was half joking about this before, but I'm going to penalize SmackDown very hard for this, because they had Bianca and Sasha in a very serious segment discussing the outcome of the Royal Rumble, and they interrupt that to recreate a stupid meme, a meme that I don't even think should be funny. I don't think people should laugh at, because Nia Jax is an unsafe worker and doesn't deserve any kind of attention in any way, shape, or form that doesn't tell her to be a safer worker. But they disrupted the main thing about this segment just so they could recreate a cheap laugh. WWE is always overkilling their own jokes. Titus World Slide, show that 10,000 times and kill the joke. R-Truth is 24/7 champion. Let's just forget that he can do anything else and strap him with that title for the rest of his career. Nia Jax falling on her ass, well, let's just go ahead and recreate that because people found it funny. I wish WWE would learn you don't have to keep redoing jokes. Sometimes a joke is funny once, and that's all you have to do. Just do a joke once and leave it be. With that said, you guys want to hear a joke about Lacey Evans and Ric Flair? Now, this next point actually hit me like a ton of bricks, because when I saw Shayna Baszler out there with Nia Jax, I was so disappointed, because I missed the Shayna Baszler of NXT, who would just destroy anyone and anything in her way. But then it really hit me in the face. I have had trouble watching NXT for the past couple months. I want to watch it, but for some, I just can't get invested in it anymore. And I realize now it's because I am tired of watching it and getting invested and loving it for the people I watch just to end up on the main roster and fail. I cannot put any more time into NXT if the main roster is just going to ruin them. Ricochet disappearing, that hurts. Aleister Black disappearing, that hurts. Angel Garza's stock just dropping like a rock in the ocean is awful. And I'm not saying this happens to everyone, obviously. Bianca Belair just won the Royal Rumble, but I am no longer watching NXT if the main roster is just going to ruin them on their call up. So officially, The main roster has ruined NXT for me. I just don't understand. They are calling themselves the Dirty Dogs. They have it on their jacket. They have it on their tights. Why are they still being called Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode? That makes no sense to me, and I want to hit somebody. Now, I'm torn on how to grade the main event because honestly, from the beginning of the show, I kind of knew that Daniel Bryan and Cesaro were going to win because after Sami Zayn and Corbin won, there were already too many heels. So of course, Daniel Bryan and Cesaro were going to win to even that out. So it was predictable. And then to add on to that, when Kevin Owens came out, a mile away, it was clear he was going to hit stunners on everyone. So again, predictable. So, but I have to give them credit because it did make Cesaro look kind of strong, and it makes me think that he just might possibly be the winner of the Chamber match and then lose to Roman right after. So yeah. And unlike the Raw main event, it did kind of propel the storyline forward. So let's just say this main event broke even. I don't think it did. I think it kind of did more bad than good, but for the sake of sanity and time, and so I can finally get to editing this video, let's just say it broke even. And that's going to be it for SmackDown this week, ladies and gentlemen. We did it together. You and I, we knocked out all 3 speed checks. If you did watch all 3, thank you very much. Your support means the world to me. I don't know if there will be speed check next week because, as I said in the intro, I'm going to be editing this tonight and it's going to be released on Saturday. And then Saturday, we have to record the podcast. And then Sunday, we have something else to record. It's a busy week and a busy weekend. I don't want to burn out on speed check and erase it forever. So it's better if I just take breaks from it and come back to it when I'm fresh. So keep an eye out. That's the key moral of this rant. Keep an eye out for speed check and we'll see what happens. Please let me know what you think of what I said about SmackDown below. Do you agree with what I said? Did you like SmackDown Live? Tell me why you did. Tell me, maybe I just didn't connect with it. This episode was actually kind of hard to get through for me. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. It was very much middle of the line. It was like your grandmother driving on the highway. You got to the destination, but it took forever. This episode was a trek. This SmackDown is 2 hours long, and writing everything and watching the show took me 5 hours. So this was not an easy one to go through. Please be sure to leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. I've been Eric from West Coast Pop. You've been terrific, and thank you for watching.